Today...
Sorry to leave you hanging on the edge of your seats. Nope, we just talked about that. Now you got it in me.
Chingada bing bong ba-doo-ba-dee zee. Hey, welcome back to the Elk Lodge Podcast, everybody. Today's show, as always, is brought to you by Hexa Coffee, the best coffee in the world.
Hands down,
Without
voted
question.
unanimously.
Well, what is it? Well, it's coffee that's brewed right there in the city of Chicago. Beans are sourced from all over the world, and it's made with love.
They're in Roscoe Village. Roscoe? I don't think it's a cow. It's just a Roscoe. Sorry, guys.
Look them up.
I tried to be cool.
HEXEcoffee.com. And if you use the promo code ELK, that's ELK, you're going to get 10% off of your total purchase.
That is cool.
Yes. We're not rusty at all doing these, taking all that time off that we did. Hey, today on the show, we have our good friend Daniel Keene.
How about that?
Daniel is a Shakespearean actor. And we actually learned a lot about William Shakespeare. And it inspired us to get our Christine's Shakespeare collection out.
These from college courses that I barely remembered a thing about. But I tried to, I was invigorated by this conversation with Daniel about it. It's a nice little memory.
Why then you must but hear thee, Gratiano. Thou art too wild, too rude, and bold of voice. That's the kind of stuff we're doing today. It's very exciting. We look up some Shakespeare porn also.
Oh, yeah, that was
you don't want to miss this episode. A lot of fun with our good pal, Daniel Keene.
How about it? Enjoy. Here we are.
Whoa.
Welcome
That's
to
crazy.
Yeah, you're in like a different world now immediately.
I feel so close to you guys.
I feel
We're
so
in each other.
close to you.
I got this buzzing.
Right
Did you guys
now.
hear that?
I
think
heard
it's
it.
fine.
Well, quit buzzing, would you?
Okay, we're good. I think I just have to not touch it. Yeah. Check. All right. Hey, cheers, guys.
Yeah,
Cheers.
thank you so
Here we
much
are
for
finally
popping
with
over.
Daniel.
There we go.
What's your last name, Daniel?
My last name is Keene.
Keene. Daniel Keene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Mr.
believe
Keene.
that's true.
Well, I'm working on my stage name.
Oh.
So
It's Daniel Keene.
it's Keene right now.
And stage
Sweet.
for what?
How do you spell that?
For Kean
Kean. All right. Cool.
after the revolutionary Shakespearean actor Edmund Kean.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Your background is in Shakespearean acting, right?
I did a lot of Shakespeare. Yeah.
So how did that start?
Well, I did it originally. Like, I didn't get to do a Shakespeare play until college.
Okay.
But I was fascinated with it early on, like in high school.
When you guys would read Hamlet or whatever.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. And I always wanted to do it. I was like kind of a big Shakespeare nerd, you know? And then in college, I got to play some pretty good roles with that. So
Who'd you play?
that was really cool. I played this guy Angelo in the play Measure for Measure, which is a rather obscure Shakespeare play. But
I think I read that one.
oh, really?
I took a Shakespeare class in college too, so I had to like deep dive into a lot of the text. But I had always liked it in high school and stuff. Never enough to want to perform, but I always liked. I kind of felt like I had an easier time understanding it than people, and that made me like.
Felt like you had a leg up
I
on
had
it.
a leg up, and
You were good at Shakespeare. You're good at
I was
reading
excited
Shakespeare.
by that. Yeah, it was like, what do you mean you don't get it? It's so easy.
Well, when you're performing it, like, do you get to a point, like, once you do enough of it, that because it's almost like a different language, right? It's not quite, but almost like it. And
Yeah,
do you
it's
start
like Old
thinking in
English.
that language, or are you sort of translating from the Shakespeare into like a normal way, and then, but, so that at least like what you're talking about or how you should be saying something, Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Totally. That totally makes sense.
Okay.
If you've done enough of your work on the play, on the show, on the character, on your text, really, you should be at a place where you are thinking in those actual words. But when you're getting there, you're doing a bunch of research to make sure you know exactly what you're actually saying.
Like, is there a time when you
Like finding all the
rehearse it,
notes.
but speak like in normal modern English, but you do the whole thing?
That's an
that way?
exercise.
Yeah.
That's just called paraphrasing, when
Okay.
you put Shakespeare's language into your own words. Yeah.
Cool.
And that can help a lot. But there's like so many exercises you really do to get into the text or to really get the text into you. It's very like nerdy actorly stuff.
That's cool though.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I get off on that, but
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know about it.
You were always acting as a kid?
No, I didn't start till high school.
And that was just like the plays and stuff?
Yeah, well, I auditioned for one play. I always knew that something in me needed to express in a heightened way, but I was scared too because I felt like there was something wrong with me. I felt like I was dirty or like inevitably flawed in some weird way. I felt like everyone else had something that I didn't, and it caused me to be cripplingly shy as a kid. And then I found theater, and it brought me out of myself.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't able to like even talk to any girls that I thought were attractive. I couldn't even talk to until I found theater.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I had to like create this character that could talk to attractive women. And the theater kind of saved me, I guess.
Wow. Yeah. So liberating.
And it worked. Like I've only met you one time, but you didn't seem like a shy guy in any way. Like
Yeah.
you're out there on the dance floor. Like
Oh, yeah.
you were not a shy guy.
Well, dancing again, like just talking to people is one thing, and I hope that I'm getting better and better at that. I use alcohol as a crutch sometimes for it, but dancing is a language where like I really feel out of my body.
Yeah.
You
can sort of let go.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
With Shakespeare, isn't there some kind of controversy like maybe he didn't write it all or maybe he did?
I mean, that's
Yeah,
like
there
a
are.
bunch of...
It's like more conspiratorial? Or is that?
That's coming out of an unwillingness on a lot of scholars' parts, a lot of like elitist scholars to not want to believe that someone who wasn't part of the elite class of the time would have been able to write plays like that.
Oh.
So, in their...
So you're not buying it. There's only one Shakespeare, and he was kick-ass.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was...
So over how many... I mean, do you know a lot about the man, Bill Shakespeare? You know about Bill?
Well, most people don't know.
What do you know about Bill?
Talk to me about Bill.
No one really knows a lot about Bill. There's not a lot. Like, we know he died sometime around 1624, I think. I might even be wrong about that. He died because he went out with his friends on a cold night and caught a flu, and they were out carousing. He left his wife his second best bed, and he had 3 offspring, one of which his only boy was named Hamnet, and he died when he was like 7. A lot of people think that's why Hamlet became sort of his magnum opus, is because of it was like really deeply tied to him. Like that character was his son, or at least like the character is inspired by what his son could have been, perhaps. And he had 2 daughters, and neither of them had children. So I think his line's all gone, and that's mostly what we know.
When he was alive, was he like successful and known, or did that all come later? Yeah, he was like the dude.
He was really successful. So was Christopher Marlowe and Thomas Kidd.
Those are just other playwrights.
Those are other playwrights at the time. Ben Jonson.
Never heard of them.
But people-
Chaucer, Geoffrey Chaucer's in there.
Chaucer is like 14th century, but
predate.
Yeah, but Chaucer, well, because Shakespeare is what, 16th century, 16th/17th century. Chaucer is 14th. Chaucer. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Thomas Kidd. There was a play I read by him. What the hell was it?
The Spanish Tragedy?
Yes, the Spanish Tragedy. That's where I first learned about cuckolding. Remember?
Wow.
Right? That's all in that, right? It's all about like
I didn't know it was such an old concept. What, that's like watching a man fuck your wife?
It's the term for if your wife cheats on you.
Then you are.
are cuckold. Like you've been cuckold. It's kind of like
you've been
it's
shamed.
both like you've been shamed. It's a noun and a verb kind of thing. But yeah, it's just so interesting.
Are those other plays in that like it's called
it's the same
iambic
canon.
pentameter, or what's the
So,
what's the word? Was that the right word?
Yeah.
Iambic pentameter.
which
job,
means
good job.
every line has 10 syllables.
Right.
And iambic, it means that the word or the metrical foot, which is like 2 syllables, is a metrical foot. So in pentameter, every line has 5 feet because there's 10 syllables.
Wow.
Because each foot is 2 syllables. And iambic is when a word is unstressed and then stressed. So like if you say beget, or behest or belike or benign. Bunch of B words.
Right. A lot of the B's.
Yeah, those are iambic words. So most of Shakespeare's lines go unstressed, stressed, like da-dum, 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 da-dum. But people overplay that because there are also a lot of lines that fall outside of that. Like a lot of lines that start
And you're
with a
supposed to just let it fall outside of that, not like force the accents, or do you force it?
It's kind of like a middle ground. Like Shakespeare, all his stage directions are in the text because it's only the text. It's only the language. So whenever he takes a moment to break the convention of the meter of the line, it's like people think that it's a clue to the actor. Like this is a moment where maybe your character is thrown off a little bit, or it's feeling something deeper or something like that. Like to be or not to be, the first 5 lines of that speech are iambic pentameter, but they have, each one of them has an extra syllable at the end, which is called a feminine ending, because it goes to be or not to be, that is the question. So you get that last syllable at the end, and a lot of Shakespeare teachers, really acting coaches, will say that like having that feminine ending means that your character is going through something a little deeper or a little more murky.
It's like they're pondering and uncertain versus like masculine and definitive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because women are so confused.
Well, yeah, it was.
I don't know, maybe that was the attitude. So did Shakespeare invent iambic pentameter, or like where? Because it feels like that's a pretty like learned, structured.
Yeah.
Like where did that come from?
I don't know who invented it. I know that Christopher Marlowe, who wrote Dr. Faustus, which is a story about a guy who sells his soul to this demonic character.
That was a good one too.
In order to get like magical powers, he brought it to its height in Elizabethan England, and then Shakespeare took his example and wrote plays also in iambic pentameter.
Wow.
So
it's almost like a genre of music or something like that he invented, or that he was using. I don't know.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So these other plays were just written in normal. I mean, it's still like a ye old English, like this kid guy and stuff, right?
Well, I don't know.
Chaucer even more so, like was kind of medieval, felt like, but yeah, I don't know. I think part of the thing is it's like hard to compare it to much else.
Yeah, it sounds like he was a prolific genius. Like, how many plays does he have?
36, I think.
Wow.
I think.
Have you done all of them or read all of them?
I think I've read them all, but I haven't done all of them. No.
Is that like almost like an EGOT, like a sort of badge of honor? Like once an actor has done every Shakespeare play, it's like a thing they sort of...
I guess if you want to. I don't know. I haven't heard anyone say that.
Okay, it's not like collect all 36.
Right? You get a passport,
like Pokemon cards.
punch card, yeah. Did you see like Denzel's Hamlet?
Did he do Hamlet? He just did Macbeth.
Oh God, I didn't see it. So clearly, that's the one I'm referring to.
He just did Macbeth.
I would like to see it.
He was phenomenal.
Was he?
He was so.
It's good. So you get your stamp of approval. I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's never ideal to see Shakespeare on film because it's really meant for the stage. But in terms of like a filmed Shakespeare, it was really dope.
What about the Leo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet?
Trash.
I agree that's trash. It bothered me. It was like
I used to like that movie enough.
We actually got into a heated debate about it at work on that last day. And yeah, our boss really liked it, and I was like, oh well, that's cool. Like I think it's good that you like a movie, but it's not Shakespeare. Yeah.
I mean,
but is it the same language? It's the same dialogue.
Yeah,
just
it's the
different
same.
everything
They
else?
changed some of it.
It was definitely like modernized and kind of bastardized in a way, but it is also cool because it got a girl that was 12 years old paying attention to Shakespeare and like interested at least in that world and curious about it, and
did a lot for Shakespeare, but I think it's a shitty movie.
Yeah,
I agree.
No, I think that's cool. Getting
fair.
people into Shakespeare, whatever. For me, it like kind of offends my sensibilities, but it's cool if you like it.
But you are way more informed than your average viewer, so that doesn't really surprise me.
But I'm
It's
super
sort of
uninformed. I just hate it. I just think it's shitty.
Yeah.
It's just like
It's like the pretentious people though that are like, oh yeah, the movie was great, but like the book was way better. You know, it's just everybody always says that if they've ever read the book.
To me,
which
it's
is
like
true.
if someone took like a really beautiful classic song and made like a bad punk rock cover of it, you know, like if like some 8th graders did like a punk rock cover of like a Beatles song, like it's like that to me. It's like,
Ooh, that's interesting.
it's just a bad.
Off-putting and soft-putting.
Yeah, I just hated it.
To give Baz his credit, I really like Moulin Rouge, but that's because he's not, you know, bastardizing classic
See,
literature.
I don't even like Moulin Rouge.
Really, I like Moulin
I honestly
Rouge. a lot.
don't ever think I watched that whole movie.
Oh man,
I don't like I guess it's that director. I don't like the style of it.
I'm not huge on his directing either, but
What else has he
Moulin
done?
Rouge is cool. Great Gatsby.
He likes Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all kind of like it's like a surreal
We have that in common.
thing. I mean, it's very creative. It's cool that he can
Definitely.
do that. Like I can't do that, you know. But it's not my style. So as a Shakespearean actor, I mean, how often are you like in plays? And
Well, I
stuff?
haven't
Like-
done anything since COVID, and I need to. I don't know, like it feels weird. I
Yeah.
feel.
Because you said you were doing the plays over at that place in the canyon. What's that?
Theatricum, yeah. Theatricum, Botanicum, yeah.
Botanicum.
And are they still active, or did they like? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a small community of like Shakespearean actors? Like you got to call like the guy to like get back in or something like that?
Kind of. I mean, it's like
Yeah, whose butt do you have to kiss to get back in?
Yeah.
It's a little culty.
Yow kiss. Or, you have to like call them and like say some code in like Shakespearean, you know?
Well, it's hard to because ever since COVID protocols, they're hiring less actors because it's way more hassle. Like they have to, you know, test and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's easier for them to have smaller casts now. So that's like one thing, but
That makes sense. It's like there's a cost to every actor you have.
yeah.
Probably a lot of one-man shows going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'm trying to think of like what plays have the fewest characters. It's the only ones they're doing.
So has Shakespeare just like been hot the whole time? Like since the 1600s, it was like he's big and like
I mean, I
was
had
like there's some
as
resurgence at
as an
some
English
point?
major at the U of A. Like it was. there
Yeah,
was
like you learn about it in
entire
school.
courses. I took an entire course dedicated to him. There was no other courses that I focused on only one author.
Even in high school, you have to. Everybody in high school in the whole country, probably a lot of places, like you have to read Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Like, is he the most successful author of all time?
He's man.
Other than Jesus, who wrote the Bible?
I guess it depends on how you define success. Most profitable, probably not.
But he was known in his day. Like he probably did have a nice house and
He was
shit
able
like
to
that.
get his family a coat of arms, and they didn't have that before. And that was kind of a big deal.
That's
What does
like
that
you're getting
exactly
welcomed
mean?
into the upper class sort of a thing.
Not upper class, but like you're being recognized as a one of the gentry. I don't know, like middle class, more like that. Yeah, it's just like a family sigil.
Are there any movies about the life of Shakespeare?
Yeah. Well, Kenneth Branagh just did one. I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I forgot what it's called, but
I kind of want to check it out.
And
now.
I've got Macbeth to watch too.
that's really good.
Yeah.
All right, I'll check that out.
'Cause
I
even
love
if-
Denzel.
even-
It's been a while since I feel like I've caught Denzel in
He's
like
phenomenal. He was doing those Equalizer movies, which
I
were like a
haven't
little
seen
bit
those.
like commercial, not the best Denzel. I didn't.
I love Denzel.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's so
but
fucking
yeah,
good.
I feel like there's been an absence of him.
Yeah,
in my
he's a presence.
viewing
You know, like
pleasure
he's a powerful presence.
Yeah.
What's that movie where he's the heroin dealer?
training. No, American Gangster.
American Gangster.
I never saw that either.
It's so good. We should
no wonder
watch that.
I feel like I haven't seen him. I haven't watched like the last like
you haven't
10
been going,
things
yeah.
he's made.
You're like, what's he done since Training
I
Day?
haven't
Nothing.
seen nothing.
Yeah, he's like, meanwhile, puts out a movie every year. Yeah, like, have you done film acting or anything, or do you have any interest in
Not
that?
too much. I was on one TV show called My Crazy Ex. That was fun, but I need to get more into that.
What kind of role were you doing on that?
It was like it's such a weird, convoluted story. I was like this sleazeball boyfriend who was watching porn, and my girlfriend walks in on me and sees her friend's boyfriend in the porn.
Okay.
And then like we have to confront them about that.
Wow.
It was like fun.
Interesting. It's not where I thought that was going.
That's
I like
funny
it.
though. I like that. It's like a
How
funny.
did that go for you? Because I did a similar situation, sub porn with Tinder.
Uh-huh.
I found my friend's boyfriend on Tinder,
Oof.
Oh,
and
okay.
I obviously told her, and we are not friends.
What?
Oh, so they stayed
They
together?
are married with 2 children.
Ooh.
And I am not her friend.
You're just a representative of like the truth that she doesn't want to see, you know?
This truth died.
This truth did die.
Wait, this happened in real life?
Yeah, that happened in
Yeah,
real
his
life.
situation was the TV show.
Yeah, I know yours
You
is
did know that.
fictitious,
Okay.
but I'm curious about
I thought
I'm curious about the plot. Did it go well? How did the girlfriend take it?
The girlfriend, well, yeah, she confronted him, and I think they broke up. I think. Yeah.
That would be a normal reaction to me, but what do I
The
know?
porn is like extra.
The porn is extra aggressive. But if a guy is saying that he's just on there because it's funny and he thinks it's funny and him and his buddy laugh, like that to me is a bold-faced lie. Is that the same?
Seems like
Bald-faced lie, I believe. Well, but is porn worse than cheating? Because it's not like an emotional cheat. It's like I got hired. I was an actor in this thing, but I like had sex with
I
somebody
would
as
say
an actor.
there's a lot of degrees of lying or withholding information and
Right.
veiling the truth about what you're up to.
You should have told me you did a porn.
It is arguably more aggressive of a violation than like accidentally going home with somebody one night.
Okay, you're right. It's like a bigger lie.
Like you chose a bunch of times to like
not reveal
do this
information.
and then not reveal it. Like,
Right.
you know, it's a lot.
But if you're doing it to save up for your future child's like college fund, you're like,
or like
hey.
like someone with cancer. You know, it's like a Breaking Bad kind of situation.
I arguably think that if you are having sexual relations with somebody and you don't disclose all of your other sexual experiences, that doesn't really lead to a situation where a person can offer consent because the choice might change if they knew the whole story.
For sure.
To me, that's like
Okay, what if-
not cool.
what if-
But at the same time, porn is very serious
Totally
about keeping
fair.
people safe.
Right,
So
it's true. That's true.
It might
that-
even be safer than having a cheat with someone who's
It's
not.
safer than a random cheat.
Arguably, because they're like really getting tested. But still, it is, I think, up to the person to be able
For
to
sure,
decide.
for sure.
Yeah.
But what if
Totally
you
true.
were in a porn 5 years ago? You did it like twice. And then now you started dating someone 5 years later. How soon do you have to tell them I was in a porn?
That one's trickier, huh? Yeah, because it's not like you necessarily going to walk through every person you've ever dated or
Wait, yeah, you
slept
gotta
with
tell
and
everybody that everything
own
you ever
every
did.
experience you've ever had.
Right, but it is on camera and it's out there.
I would probably lead with it.
You would lead with it.
I probably would.
So if you're ever in a porn, every person you start dating,
Be like,
by the
hey,
way,
you know,
I did a porn, it's out there.
Fun little fact.
Well, they're gonna watch it right
Can
away.
you pass me that water? Also, I was in a porn a few years ago.
Well,
If that's
depending
not
on the
for
porn,
you,
they're
if
gonna
you don't
expect
think
you
you
to
can,
do.
if you
like,
don't
what-
think you can get past this, I don't think we need a second date.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's a good way to weed out people who can't handle it. But what if probably a lot of people can't handle it? You ever been
A
in a
lot of
porn,
people.
Daniel?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Before we keep
Is
diving
there any
down
Shakespearean
here.
porn?
Oh my god.
There's
know.
gotta be.
There's
I honestly
gotta
don't know.
be.
I'm looking it up.
probably
I'm
is.
looking it up.
I mean, there's every kind of porn these
Shakespearean
days.
porn.
Oh my god.
Where they're like doing like a scene in iambic pentameter
Oh my god. That's so
and
funny.
like boning. Like Romeo and Juliet boning during a scene.
A nice idea for a novel. It'd be about a night and...
I think this is a porn.
I'm not seeing. Oh my god.
Oh, there we go, see?
it is.
It's
Oh.
called like to anal or not to anal or something like that. So okay, anyway. Inappropriate.
Wow.
But it exists.
There we go.
Of course.
Figured it out.
I feel like that's in the days of like porns would play on like HBO, you know, and be like a whole movie. You know, like
Yeah, you'd have to watch like the whole hour to get like
Yeah.
2 minutes.
yeah, exactly. It'd be like a whole story,
Viewing
like it's a
pleasure.
whole plot, it's a whole movie. But now it's like forget all that goofiness.
Oh, man, yeah, we used to have to go through much greater lengths, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird nowadays that kids are like just the access to porn is so just right there. You can't even avoid it.
No, it's
Like
pretty out there.
it's pretty out there. So it's
For better
I
or
wonder
worse.
I wonder what that's doing. I got to assume it's somewhat
I
bad.
mean, I think a lot of people like do report some desensitized. What's the word? You know,
Desensitization.
desensitized.
Desensitizing?
Yeah, that experience of like watching porn, and then they have to like take a break because it's creating intimacy blocks with their
For
real
sure.
partner, or just
And so imagine just
making
looking
them
at porn all
lazy
the
to
time
go
when you're like
pursue
10.
a partner. Like,
you know?
yeah.
Like at least I had to like sneak to the family computer when no one was around and like look at something. Like you can just go in the bathroom and stare at your phone for hours
Yeah.
as a kid.
I know, it
Crazy.
is wild.
There's no hope for you if your children, if you're listening out there, children.
We had a friend
fucked.
who's like took breaks from that, you know.
Oh, it's great.
You
Yeah.
know, just chose to like purge it and be like, all right. And
Yeah.
I've known couples who've had to like weed it out too, and
For sure. I know like sex addict friends and they have like a setting on their phone where you can't
wow.
see it.
oh wow,
Like it's like maybe an app you could download or something, or it's at least like in your internet browser, but like it just won't allow you. So if you're like, fuck it, I'm doing it, like you got to go through like a whole steps to like get to it.
Like
And the idea is by
unfreeze.
that point, it's like you just kind of have hopefully tucked yourself out of it, I guess.
Well,
Interesting.
sex is better if you're not watching porn.
The less porn you watch, the better sex is.
Yeah.
yeah.
I would
Makes
have to agree
sense.
with that.
Makes sense. There's a lot of stuff that's like super fake about porn too, which is weird.
Oh yeah, and like kind of violence. Like if I'm watching
Yeah.
porn and like there's like some hitting all of a sudden, I'm like, what the fuck? Or it's
Yeah.
like it just gets kind of like mean.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? I don't want to watch like mean.
I don't get it. I really don't get it.
There's a lot of meanness in
Yeah,
porn.
there is.
And I
There
don't-
is.
Yeah.
No, but I don't get why these porn directors don't understand. Like, it's way hotter if you just have people act like people with each other. You don't have to create like some stupid story.
Right.
Like, just have them be the people they are doing.
Yeah, like have it actually be a real moment, and
Yeah.
we'll all be totally mesmerized by just that.
Yes,
you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Although that maybe if they actually did pull that off, maybe that would be a bad thing because we would fall even deeper into the reliance upon pornography.
Because we'd have this like it'd be more emotional for
Yeah.
us. There'd be like passion.
It
We
felt-
would love,
Yeah.
we would be falling in love
Yeah.
while we're watching porn.
Yeah.
oh my god,
It would fill that intimacy gap even better, which is.
But is that worse or better? Like if people are watching porn anyway, without intimacy or with it, at least people are feeling a little more fulfilled.
On a level of like educating young people, I think it would be better because it's
Yeah, I
really
agree.
it's a bummer that people's introduction to sexuality is not great.
Yeah. Because you're watching porn probably like 4 or 5 years before you're ever even having sex. Probably more for some people. So it's like your entire concept, like you have to unlearn so much by the time you're like actually boning.
Wow, this conversation's taken quite a
We've taken a
range.
turn,
You
yeah.
know?
Shakespearean
Shakespeare
porn,
to porn.
the downfall of society.
Welcome to the Bone Zone.
Welcome. Yeah, I went from Shakespeare to the Bone Zone. So you also make music.
Yep.
Are you still making music?
Yeah, from time to time.
And you said you like started it during the pandemic. You started like learning how to do it, right?
I love all these bonus hobbies everybody's picking up, and like in the pandemic, everybody who was anybody
True.
picked up a new habit.
It's true. Like it, in some ways, it was a nice thing. There are ways we'll look back on the pandemic, be like, wow, like that was cool because like you started doing this, I started doing that,
It was
and
like
look-
the great interrupt, you know?
the great interrupt.
Yeah, it just stopped everything. It was like, hey, well, are you sure you're doing what you want to do?
Yeah,
The
'Cause
first 3
you don't
months.
have to do it. You can't do it. So what are you going to do next?
The first 3 months of the pandemic were like blissful for me because I needed the time to like find myself again. But then after that, I fell into like depression. But yeah,
like because
Yeah,
it
got
just
me-
lingered for
got me
so
down,
long, or
you know?
I think so. Well,
Like
isolation.
the unknown too. Just also not even like for me, it's like, oh, you know, you have to wait 6 months. It's like, all right, 6 months and counting. You start to like mentally prepare, but something about never knowing like
Yeah.
when we'd be back up and running, and like,
Yeah.
God, we're still not like completely normal.
For
I mean,
sure.
I know it feels like we are, but
Yeah.
know, just-
I liked not having to work, but
Yeah.
being
Same.
away from friends was really was damaging.
Yeah.
Well, it was just not helpful.
And who do you live with? You have roommates, family?
I'm just with my parents.
Okay, so at least you weren't like completely alone.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
it's good.
alone at the time, and we were doing long distance. And it was, I had like 3 people that were kind of like, I'd see that whole time, neighbors and friends.
yeah,
But it was like, it got old real quick, for sure.
for sure. It was scary too because like being long distance, like especially when it first started, there was talks of like shutting down state to state travel. Like that was discussed like in those first couple weeks or month or whatever, and it was like shit. Like That was kind of made me be like, we should move in together soon, because what if this keeps happening and like we can't even see each other? Like we might get stuck.
Be lame.
Scary.
How far into the relationship were you guys when the pandemic
Not very
hit?
far at all.
Less than a year?
Yeah, let's see.
Like 6 months?
It was March 2020 or March 19? No,
2020.
2020.
So
we
that
got together that summer in May.
May 19th. And then it
So-
was like 9 months
Almost.
before, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But still long distance. I mean, we had visited a lot. But yeah, still long distance. And then,
So you guys were still like honeymoon phasing?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, that was rough.
Not
and
anymore,
then-
though.
Yeah,
Things are
that
rough.
shit's over.
I'm just kidding. I was thinking, I was like, maybe we're still in the honeymoon phase. I don't know. Feels like it.
Feels like it. Feels like it right now.
Yeah. We're basically going on our honeymoon. We're going to,
Yeah,
we've been
same.
traveling so much. We're going to Europe soon.
I know. I feel like I'm not entitled to have this experience because it's not like a honeymoon or a baby moon. But we
It's
don't
just
have
a
to call it
fucking
anything.
awesome
But
time.
yeah, we're really about to spoil ourselves with some good travel.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to Europe. Have you been to Europe before?
I just went to Romania.
Oh, right. For a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that?
It was so much fun.
Nice.
It was awesome.
Did you go just you?
Now, like a bunch of my friends from elementary school.
How fun.
Yeah, we all went. It was,
Wow.
so
You said
dope.
you like stayed in a castle at least.
We,
or went to a
um,
castle.
We stayed at like a B&B, but the wedding was at a castle. And it was just awesome. So
Yeah.
fun.
And you said you like saw the sunrise. It was like a
Yeah.
wild night, and
Well, we partied till like 5 a.m. on the wedding day.
Those are the best
It was
nights.
yeah, it
And
was
the-
I
so
love
much fun.
nights like
the
that.
bride was like from Romania too. So did she have like a ton of family there? And
Yep. We had to kidnap her as a groomsman because I guess that's like a tradition. Like you have to kidnap the bride, and then
Wow.
so during the wedding we kidnapped her and we had to bring her to like this basement in the castle.
Oh my God.
And then this dude, whoever it was, I think it was her cousin,
Uh-huh.
was like, "Come on, guys! Like you gotta act like we're tough, mean guys." And like he made us do a picture with her where like she's pretending to cry and like we're being mean.
Oh my
It's like
God.
really weird.
What an odd tradition.
And then to get her back, the groom has to like agree to some conditions. So we made him sing "All I Want for Christmas Is You" by Mariah Carey, and that was pretty hilarious.
Wow.
It was fun. Yeah,
oh my god.
And what kind of food do you eat?
just like the food is very good, but like super cheap. So that was rad. I got like a steak dinner for like $11.
Oh, in Romania.
Yeah.
And at the wedding, like
At
what's the meal?
It was a 4-course meal.
Sick.
I think our last meal was at like 3 a.m. We had
Nice.
the first course was like all these. They're kind of like these puff pastry things with like meat on them and stuff that they make. I don't even know what they're called. The second one was a fish course. Then we had like filet mignon and shrimp, and then there was one more. But
Sick.
yeah,
And so you were there for how long?
it's just 6 days.
Cool.
Yeah.
And did you like explore a little too, or was it mostly just wedding
did
focused, kidnapping brides and whatnot?
We went to Dracula's castle.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Transylvania.
Yeah.
And what's the story with Dracula? He like tortured
It's based on.
witches or something? What did he? Or no, he was tortured. What's
He's
the
a
thing?
vampire. He drank blood.
I know, but there was a real Dracula
It's based
guy.
on this guy named Vlad Tepes, who was like a Romanian warlord, Transylvanian warlord, and he was infamous for decapitating people and being particularly cruel. And there were rumors that he drank blood, which
Okay.
are really super well corroborated.
And then the story he became like the boogeyman in
Yeah,
like
it
the
just became
lore of the
folklore.
town.
yeah, I think that sounds right.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Spooky. Yeah, I mean,
There's some good Dracula movies too, aren't there? God, I feel like I've seen.
there's a
those.
classic old one with like Bela Lugosi.
I don't know
I've
about
never
good.
seen.
Don't know about good. I feel like I watched one a while ago that was interesting. But
Are you a big film guy? You like
I
films
want
a
to
lot?
be more of a big film guy, but I get into it. I really do like
Like,
film
what are
a
your
lot.
favorite movies?
I just saw Licorice Pizza, which was
I watched
amazing.
it. I loved it.
Right?
Have you seen that yet?
No, I heard it was great.
I heard people talking shit about it. I heard people be like, it's overrated. And then I watched it. I was like, this is
So
amazing.
good. So good.
Yeah.
I knew it
Yeah.
was going to be good because my cool friend Amanda was like, I really want to see this. We should go see it. And
Yeah.
we never did, but
It's worth it.
it was on her
It's
radar. So
very
I knew it would be
sweet.
great.
Really
So
cool
good.
acting, too.
I
The,
Like
the
kind
chick,
of a coming of age story.
yeah, coming of age story. It's like a boy like in
Sans
high school
porn.
who's in love with like a 20-year-old or something like that.
She's 25 and he's 15. Which
Okay,
I think
that's what it is.
That's what like a lot of people are like having concern with. But it's Paul Thomas Anderson. Thought it was really well done.
Yeah, it was really well done. And it's like done, it's like kind of innocent. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like sometimes a 15-year-old is in love with a 25-year-old and they'll end up together in the future. And like, wouldn't there not be sparks, you know? Anyway, it's a very beautiful story.
There can't be sparks.
No sparks.
That's the problem. No sparks.
No
sparks
sparks.
cause wildfires. We can't have that.
What if there's no fire? Just a little spark, you know? And you're postponing the fire till it's...
No, I think you're right. There can be a degree of innocence. I worked in a kitchen at like 16. I had crushes on my bosses who were like
Yeah.
30. You know, nothing happened, but
Right, but there's sparks.
in my head I flirted.
Yeah, a
you
little
know?
flirt, you know?
Right.
Anyway, it's great. And it's the girl, the lead actress, the girl from Haim,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which I didn't even realize like till halfway through. I was like, I think that's... She's really good.
She's really good.
Yeah.
And her whole family in the movie are her bandmates. Well, it's her real family too.
Right. They're in the movie?
Yeah, they're her family in the movie.
Oh, dude, I didn't even realize that. That's so funny. Yeah, really good movie.
Really cool.
We just saw another beautiful piece of movie
Cinema.
history. Yeah, cinema. Jurassic Park 4.
Ooh.
Dude, you want to talk about a piece of shit.
Oh no.
This was like next level. Because we got dinner right before seeing the movie. And I was like, I wonder if this would be good because the last one sucked dick. The first one with Chris Pratt sucked. I hated it. Did you like it?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I liked
Dog
it.
shit.
I'm,
Just a
like,
shitty.
I'm easily entertained. I'm not too much of a cynic.
That's nice.
It was like a The Rock movie, you know, like not like a Jurassic Park, like one of the greatest films of all time movie.
Sure.
But anyway, it just sucked. Anyway, I was like, I wonder if this would be better. And you were like, how do you mess up Jurassic Park, you know? And then we're watching this movie. We're like, oh my God, like.
It started out so promising because it was like, it's been 30 years since dinosaurs broke free from Jurassic Park, and there's no corner of the earth that they haven't inhabited, and like learning to live with the consequences of living with dinosaurs. Like it seems
Yeah, it starts really cool. Yeah,
You're like, okay, I
the
like
cat
this
is out of the bag and
premise.
there's no getting it back in.
They're everywhere. They're making nests on the top of like, you know, skyscrapers in New York City. Like they're causing traffic accidents. Like it
Yeah.
seemed so cool.
It seems so cool.
But then they just did a little too much from there on out.
They just get lost in like their own like bullshit little emotional story.
Oh.
Plus also all the like dinosaurs, they act like mammals. They're like puppies, you know, like they're, and
Yeah,
they're like all
Chris
cute.
Pratt has somehow managed to like train them all. Or I don't know. He just like holds out a hand and all of a sudden they stop.
Like an untrained dinosaur will listen to him if he goes like this. And then like, you know, raptors are like chasing people. And like, if a raptor's chasing a good guy, like they can outrun the raptor. But like a bad guy, it's like it's just, you're dead. But like they were like on foot outrunning raptors.
Yeah,
like
that, like-
outsmarting them, like doing a quick turn. The raptor's like, just like, is like, "Ah," or it's crazy. We were just
There
like, we
were
couldn't believe
some
it.
inconsistencies for sure.
And also like, you know, there's a moment, okay, like we think we're safe, but then like boom, boom, here it comes. It's the big scary dinosaur. That moment happens like 7 times. Like throughout the movie, it's like, we think we're good. It's like boom, boom. It's like, it's another one. Like it just kept happening. Oh man, a real piece of shit.
Sounds like it'd be fun to watch high.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
It
We
is-
were. It was a good
It's also
time.
one of my favorite genres is like bad sci-fi
Oh, yeah.
movies. I love like.
But it got too.
love
It
good
felt
one,
like a Hallmark movie at times.
Oh, wow.
It felt like a Hallmark Christmas movie at
Okay.
times.
Wow, I wouldn't go so far, but I could see that.
I did. Chris Pratt was like, because they like adopted this one girl who's like the government wants because she's like a clone or something like that, and she's like 14, and they like have to protect her, so they keep her in this cabin. They don't let her really like leave, go into town, and she's like, I want to go into town, and then he's like, you're not going, you're staying. Like that's his reasoning. Like he's saying this to a 14-year-old, and then she like storms off, and he's like, well, that didn't work. And it's just like, well, yeah, that didn't work. Like, oh man.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a real
I
dope
love
shit.
stuff like that, though. It's so fun to laugh at that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
Luckily, we had each other. Yeah, if that's what we said going into it. Like, this will either be really good or so bad it's going to be great.
Like one of my favorite pieces of movie history of all times is when Samuel L. Jackson just gets chomped by that shark in Deep Blue Sea.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Oh, my
my
God,
God.
you
Did I go see
gotta
it?
watch Deep
Okay.
Blue Sea. It is so bad and so good.
I love
it's
that.
just amazing.
Yeah, like there's a moment because they're studying sharks, so they're like underwater, and like in their little vessel, there's like like a sort of a pool, which like leads to to the water, like to go do research. And like Samuel Jackson's here, and the shark like comes out of the pool, grabs him, and then like defies physics and just like goes back in. Like it grabs him like a snake. So like it had all this momentum going here, grabs him, and then just like turns, like
It is-
reverses back somehow and
like-
pulls him in.
Just a mess,
phenomenal.
but I love it. It's so good. We watched Jaws 4 the other day too, randomly.
Yeah, there's a Jaws 4. No, 3?
3? No.
Jaws 3, I think.
Oh, I don't even know. It was hard to know, but it was so funny. The graphics were so bad. Like they would just have like the cheesiest little limb floating through the water or something. Like
But there was something in there that we were like, whoa. What was the thing? Something in there was like
There's something
predicting
oddly-
the future. Like something was really
Oh.
cool in there.
oh God, I don't know. You'll have to
Fuck,
watch
I don't
it.
remember. We got to watch it again. Damn. There was something about it that was like impressive, but I forget what it was. Well, anyway, that conversation went nowhere. I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe it's about how there's like mysteries in the ocean. So like there could be a shark that can actually do that, and whoever directed Deep Blue Sea is clued into that because
He knows. He's trying to tell us. Like
Yeah.
he's sending a message.
Yeah.
Like Stanley
Look
Kubrick
out.
or whatever. Like trying to send a message. So funny.
All right.
So-
So, what are some other favorites?
Did you guys see Eighth Grade?
No.
No.
That's Bo Burnham's. He directed it. It's about a girl going through her last week of 8th grade, and she's like cripplingly shy, but she creates like YouTube videos giving people advice, and they're like super endearing, and you can tell like what she's going through in her development, and she's just like really yearning for someone to connect with her because she's like a very kind soul. She's like someone who really considers people, but like all the kids around her are like, glued to their phones and vapid and superficial and way too sexed up by like, internet porn and stuff like that. And she ends up connecting with this high schooler when they go to like shadow the high school. And it just like goes from there, and you see her development, and you see her relationship bloom really with her dad. And there's like one moment near the end that's just like so moving and
Wow.
beautiful. It just like got me so much because I felt like I know that person because I was that person,
Yeah.
And it was just so moving, like just so deeply almost grounding to feel like I'm seen, like I'm
Yeah.
seen in cinema.
Wow, cool.
It's beautiful.
So I would highly recommend that.
Nice.
If you're like into that sort of thing.
So now knowing that, I don't recommend Deep Blue Sea anymore.
Blue Sea's a little different.
Not so much moving emotionally as
But I also like shitty movie. I love
Yeah.
shitty movies.
Paul refers to them as airplane movies. Like it's
an
a good
airplane
movie
movie.
to watch on the airplane.
I
you know?
love those.
Me too.
They're so fun.
Justice League, did you see that?
No. Oh man.
That's real.
Okay.
Because it's like really expensive too. So they spent a lot of money making it, and it's like a piece of shit. Those are kind of better, like
That's so good.
if it's expensive and just still so bad.
That's so good.
It's so great.
I love that.
Because there's
stuff.
like moments where it's like, okay, like the world's gonna end really soon. Like the situation is so dire. Like we're under pressure, and then like someone will just like have like a quick like emotional like 5-minute conversation. It's like, weren't we like gonna die like
Yeah.
any minute? Like, isn't this meteor coming like now? Anyway, it's a good one. But it's funny like what you said about like being seen and kind of like movies. I used to think of them as like not as artistic, but it's actually like one of the purer forms of art. It's like an exercise in like human emotion and like acting too. Like it's such an art form in like sort of living some other like emotional experience and kind of like helping people feel things in themselves and also like understand what it would feel like like what it would feel like to fall in love, or what it would feel like to be like hurt like that, or to be that brave, like how that would feel like it's a very strong, like powerful art form. Film.
Well, that's deeply tied to like our purpose as people who create. Like we need like our deepening and widening the expanse of feeling within human consciousness is curative, transformative, restorative, is immense, is almost seemingly limitless. And it's like the nuances that you can go into with that. And it's like somehow, for some reason, whatever species beings we are, we're like hardwired to tell story, to do this. And it's like, I just want to keep doing that. And like, it because when you go through life not being seen, you realize how important it is to be seen, and it feels so, it's just so important to me. Because there's so many days where it's just like I'm around people, but I don't feel like me, and I don't feel like I can be me. So those moments where I feel like I can be me, like you are here with me, you get me, you can feel me. Those are essential. Like those are what make me want to keep going. And so many people have a dearth of those experiences, which was deeply exacerbated by the pandemic. But the more we can throw out those life rafts to people of giving genuine moments, it's gonna help us stave off the problem of not really having a community anymore.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, like we can use it to sort of connect. Like we feel something together. Like so, we're almost like in the same room. Like we're almost like hugging each other. If we all watched, you know, Little Miss Sunshine and like felt this like beauty together, it's like we were like hugging each other and like holding each other's hands and like kind of you like feel something with people.
And it's true, there's like nothing worse than that feeling of like being alone in a crowded room. And I know it's a cliche, but I've definitely felt it so much. And like a lot of it was when I was coming of age and like my hormones were all over, and I needed like more intimacy than life allowed at that time. And, you know, just like human to human, heart to heart connections. And it was very easy and common for me to be like super sad and lonely and inside, and then like have this like public facing persona of being good and all good. Like, you know, it's like you didn't really, I don't know, there wasn't a lot of space for anything other than all good. And so you just kind of do that, you know, you just sort of like go through. I mean, I sometimes I still do it, like grieving the loss of a friend or something. And you go to work and everybody says, hey, how are you? And you say, I'm good. How's it going? Like you just do these things that aren't totally true all the time. Just
wearing like a mask.
In a way to, I don't know, just because it's like the etiquette of it all.
Right. You don't want to bum anybody out.
Yeah. Like if I told people sometimes how I was actually feeling, like it would be really uncomfortable for them.
How you doing just means hi.
But like, yeah, you know, I think like I met you at work, and I don't know, I think that was interesting, like, because it's hard to, I don't know, form friendships at work just because of the nature of those connections. You're kind of just sort of like passing by, and it's just sort of formulaic, like normal social interactions. But I commend you because you always went a little bit out of your way to be like friendly to me in like a warmer way than that. And I don't know, it was just really nice. But I feel like that's that's out of the norm. Like it doesn't always happen that way, where somebody like makes a point to do that, you know, which it's cool.
I'm glad you've felt that way. I mean, because I'm fed by it. Like I need it. Like I can't, like too much surface connection exhausts me. Deeply exhausts me. So like I need to forge a deeper connection with my coworkers in order to not be exhausted at work.
For sure. And are those moments where you feel like you can't be yourself that you're talking about, like at work or like in some kind of
because it's effort. It's effort to put on the persona.
Totally.
Right. You have to kind of be a little peppy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just be like aware too. Like that's exhausting, even just like being like focused, at least for me, like to be focused for like 4 straight hours is like kind of exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I used to, the professional realm, I think, is a place that's particularly vulnerable to that kind of like interaction of just always trying to put your best foot forward. And yeah, I mean, it is a mask.
I mean,
sure.
it was really a year of learning for me. I mean, I handled it really weirdly, I would say. I mean, and I went through some stuff that was very difficult, but like, I didn't know how to, I don't know why. Like, well, I learned about something very difficult, and when I learned about it, I was like drunk, and then I immediately texted my boss and, well, both my bosses. And later I was like, oh, you probably shouldn't have done that. But I knew that when I saw them, it would be so hard for me to not be tinged by what I heard about. And I needed them to reach out to me, or me to reach out to them. But like, you know, were I a healthier person, perhaps I could have done that without needing that. I don't know. But
it sort of opened you up to be like, okay, like I need to express this.
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to express it. Like, I'm not going to be afraid not to.
Yeah.
Or afraid to express it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's like, fear is a bitch, you know? It's
but
like,
it was, sorry, keep going.
No, keep going. You go.
It's hard because it was like, because you don't realize it until you've gone through something like that when someone goes through it, often they want to talk about it. But like, as a person who hasn't been through it, you feel like, oh, I should just leave them alone. You know, let them do their thing.
Like if someone's struggling.
Yeah.
Something like that,
Yeah, there's like a general, I think, consensus that like rocking the boat is bad. But it's like now, I think, especially as I get older, I'm just like, so many of these systems are obviously not working. So the fact that we're not encouraged to rock the boat and like encouraged to call people out when, like, as a woman, I can't tell you how many times like men would make me feel uncomfortable, and my response was to smile, be polite, and not make them feel weird or aggressive. And like, that shouldn't be the response. And now it's only just now happening in my life very recently where I'm like, all right, this person is making me uncomfortable. I no longer am obligated. I don't feel any sort of obligation to ensure that they feel good about it, because they're making me uncomfortable. Right. And no one's going to come save me unless I say something, you know? So, but yeah, people, I don't know.
It would be better for those men if they knew in the moment, oh, this is making this person uncomfortable. Yeah. And a lot of times, you know, they don't, they're unaware.
I just watched on the plane a movie called Bombshell. Have you heard of that one?
I heard of it.
And that's like based off of a true story of the Fox News guy getting like taken down for sexual harassment. And then they also ended up tying in, as they were doing like their whole analysis of Fox News, Bill O'Reilly, he got tied into the same thing and ended up getting fired. But it was really kind of a fascinating movie, just watching the kind of like bold decision of one person to be like, all right, I'm over this. I've been taking notes for a year. I've got audio tapes, like tracking privately to build a case, because that's what it takes. Like, it's not enough to just say, oh yeah, this is what happened. You have to have like all this concrete evidence, and then to just feel so lonely in the fact that like nobody was coming forward with it until it broke the mainstream news and was like all over the place. And then slowly but surely, you know, one by one, women are like, oh yeah, that he was doing that to me too, blah blah blah. It's just a really frustrating thing, because although it's absolutely progress, it was infuriating, because like they paid 26 women something like $55 million in a settlement or whatever, and then the two men that they fired got $65 million in severance packages. And it's just like, okay, so this is our take on justice now. And it's really not about the money, but when you see that price tag stuck on it, you're like, God damn it. Like, we were so close to actually making the situation right.
Yeah.
And then it's like not close at all.
It's so hard to speak up sometimes, and like, because you don't want to like, well, partially, you don't want to like disrupt like the flow or like disrupt like the
Yeah.
way things are, you know,
And
it's like,
jeopardize your position. You know,
Yeah.
all of those women risked losing their jobs. They risked having a stigma on them that they sued their boss and never getting hired at
Yeah.
any news station ever again. I mean, they had so much on the line, and it's just like in that particular situation, extremely unfair what we ask women to give up in like the name of proving that they're telling the truth on that.
yeah. And we've sort of like, I mean, even tying it into the thing of like, if someone's like, how are you? You just say good. Like whether you're good or not, like you're supposed to just say good. Cause like we've evolved for whatever reason to like not want to like disrupt or like make
Right.
things uncomfortable, like keep it going. But like the only people who have ever like made any progress are the ones who were disruptive. Like
Was that quote, well-behaved women seldom make history?
exactly. Yeah.
I like it.
So it's like we have to disrupt, but for the most part, all like people don't. Like the bulk of society is a non-disruption.
It's like an exercise, I feel like you have to do, though. You have to learn to like lean into the awkwardness of it all and just be willing to do that.
Scary,
Yeah, it is scary. It's
especially when there's like, you know, financial implications and all this other shit for like that specific story. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to consider. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard work.
Well, there's utility in superficial interaction. You know, it's kind of just a way of seeing if someone's insane or not, and also it's
Yeah.
a way of just keeping things running. You know, not every moment can be like a cathartic
Sure.
look into everyone. You know,
Sure.
but it's for a person like me. I mean, there are other people like that. I think you guys are like that a little bit. You know, there's a hunger for genuine moments.
Right.
You know, and it can be hard when you're not getting that because our community is very fractured.
Totally.
You know?
And I mean, distracted, you know, it's like, God, this cell phone situation is just so intense where we have
Yeah.
so much information at our fingertips, but it's making us so dumb, you know?
Yeah.
It's
And-
funny. Oh, sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
it just reminds me of like the Shakespeare stuff because, you know, back around that time, people were orating speeches all the time. They didn't have the luxury of written words most of the time because it was like, you know, printing press was like just coming out. Like they didn't have like tons of materials to study. So everything was just learned and memorized that they needed to know. And we've kind of, as a species, sort of lost that ability to like retain massive amounts of information. We don't have to remember anything. It's just all a Google search away, and
Yeah.
there's like a short-term
Yeah.
kind of mode that we're in.
Yes, but we're also taking in more information than ever. Like
Yeah, but what are we even
do
doing
know
with it?
more information.
I take in stuff all the time. I don't retain it. That's
Yeah,
the problem.
no, you're
I
right.
learned so much stuff. I've got the world at my fingertips, but then you ask me to tell you the details and they're long gone. I'll remember concepts and things, but like I took an entire course on Shakespeare and for 6 months of my life, and like I'm mixing up titles. Like like that's not great. Like what stuck?
You're like,
I don't
helmet?
know.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that helmet one. I like that one. I think a little dark at times, but pretty good. I remember. Yeah, it's just it's interesting.
What you were saying too about like, there is a function of just this like surface level talk. It does kind of like the way
We
we
need
greet
it.
each other does kind of have a function of like, are they crazy or like not? Like I never realized it like that, but that's maybe kind of where that like just most cultures have this like common understood greeting, and it's a way to identify foreigners also. Like if you don't know the handshake or the way to say hello in this country or this city, like we know you're not from here, and like that's a tribal. Oh shit, this thing. That's a tribal.
Yeah.
A tribal thing too. Like when it's like if someone's in your tribe or not, and like that's a survival thing. But anyway, we also though, as humans, crave the other thing. Like we crave the like genuine moments, and like we need them. And so like now we have this when like our worlds were so small that was easy to get both. Like you have the surface level, but like now those things have kind of like society's gotten so large that like there's a huge gap between like the connection and the surface level talk.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. It's like both things designed for us to like survive and stuff like have now like gone separate directions. But
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that But yeah, I think the greeting is like, that's probably where that comes from. It's a way to know, like, are we cool or not?
And
Yeah.
to your credit, like sometimes if people lead with too much personal information out of the gate, I get like a little bit weary. I'm
Yeah.
like, why are you trusting me
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
with so much when you don't know me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Don't
like,
you know you're just supposed to say, I'm good.
Don't you
Like,
know?
that's how this works.
Yeah,
you
like-
did it wrong.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
like,
kind of
something's
hobby
weird
do you
about
have?
it.
How about
Right.
the weather? I don't want to know how your
did
marriage
you see
is.
the game last
Jesus.
night?
Right.
Like, come on. Like, there's a million things you could say that would
Right.
make me not think you're weird.
Yeah,
Right.
I know it is. It's
But, like-
interesting. We're all this little ants marching. You know,
Oh wow.
You know, the funniest
I
thing.
can't take credit for that. That's a Dave Matthews line. Dave Matthews
Dave Matthews.
Drop in DMB quotes.
bit. No, those I retained. Those were pre-smartphone.
Those were in there.
Those were pre-smartphone.
The JC and I, who you saw in
Yeah.
episode 12,
Yeah.
JC and I used to work at this furniture store
Chef's
together.
kiss.
Thank you so much. Yeah. We used to work at this furniture store, and there was a dude, like, the furniture store was on a corner, and there was a big rock on that corner. And there was always this dude, we called him Karate Guy, because he was, like, up there, like, doing karate, you know? So it's like, oh, okay, like, that guy's like, something's going on with that guy, you know? And he was there every day. He was, like, not old. He was, like, maybe, you know, he was, like, in his 20s, but, like, something was, anyway. So we were always trying to gauge, like, where's he at? You know, like, he's doing karate, but he's dressed kind of nice. Like, I think he has a home, but, like, he's there every day, all day doing karate. Anyway, so, like, one day we were walking past him, and I was like, all right, like, we'll say hi. Like,
Yeah.
we'll see what he does, you know?
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, how you doing? And, like, so, like, you know, lucid. He was like, good, man, how are you? And it was like, what? Like, it just threw us off, you know,
Yeah.
because like we're trying to figure this guy out.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did the greeting to try and suss him out, but it just confused things more.
Passed that test, and then you
Yeah, he
didn't have a
passed that
second
one.
test.
But yeah,
There's no
we
other
needed-
follow-up
there's no other
exam.
follow-up. We needed another test to see like what's going on with
Then
the
you
karate.
should have just like come up to him with something crazy. So like, how about these purple haze clouds over here? And he'd be like, I'm sorry, what?
He'd be like, are you okay?
If he would have said like, totally.
He's like,
then
the
you would've
frogs are
known.
coming out of them. Yeah, that's what we should have done.
Yeah.
Maybe he's still there.
Yeah, give it a try.
We could go find him.
Test number 2.
Suss him out. Yeah, karate guy. Legend.
Sounds like
funny.
that was just his practice.
Maybe he's like a legit fighter.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you practice on a public corner, you're like less phased by distractions.
Did his moves look good, or were they like?
No, it was like a little kid, like doing like, wow, you know, like karate, like fighting people that aren't there, like,
So not like I was picturing more like,
winning,
Tai Chi.
always winning, you know, like.
I was picturing more like Tai Chi, like
No,
the
no.
slow, like I'm really just battling myself.
No,
kind
no,
of
like, and how a
energy.
kid, like, and he'll like go up on the rock and like jump off it, like, ah, you know, it's like, it was very
Okay.
childlike.
And he would do that for like hours.
Just every day without fail. He was there in the morning, he was there all day.
Wow,
Karate guy. He was a mystery.
another kind of creature.
The mystery of karate guy. Maybe that's the name of this episode. I don't know. Who knows?
It's always fun.
Yeah.
Picking the name.
Do they ever find, back to Shakespeare, do they ever find like unreleased Shakespeare? Like, or do they have the,
Well, they just found pieces of a play called Cardenio, which is adapted from Don Quixote, and that's thought to be Shakespeare and Thomas Middleton, some other guy who's not.
I know that name. Oh,
Oh, you do know that now.
Thomas Middleton?
That name.
he's an
sounds
actor,
familiar.
right?
Well, there's Middleditch. That's Thomas Middleditch.
Who's the guy who's Loki in the Avengers movies?
Hiddleston.
Hiddleston. Okay, I was way
Yeah.
out.
But this the parts of this play they found are thought to be written by Shakespeare and this other guy, John Milton. No, not John Milton. Some other guy. Yeah. So
Thomas Middleton, or the guy, he's from Silicon Valley.
yeah, that's Thomas
That's
Middleditch.
the guy.
Wait, which guy from Silicon
And he,
Valley?
the main,
main
guy.
guy.
Oh,
and
cool.
he does a lot of Shakespeare, right? He's like a Shakespearean actor.
I don't know.
I
Is
feel
he?
like I heard that about him.
I don't know. He
I
could be
wrong.
I think he's a stand-up. He does stand-up. I
But he
think.
does like improv. He'll do like whole shows that are completely
Yeah.
improv.
Yeah.
I really love
And I
that
feel like
show.
he did an improv Shakespeare thing.
Oh, maybe.
I could be making this up.
I think John Mulaney did something like that. He did that improv show with Ben Schwartz. That's Thomas Middleditch. and
Yeah,
Ben
yes,
Schwartz,
yeah. Which was great. Did
Yeah.
you watch that?
Yeah, he's really funny.
Yeah, I really love that. Did you see that? It's great. They like, you know, like how an improv show would be like, okay, give me some words, give me some things, whatever. They do that at the beginning, and then they take that and give you a whole like 3-act play. But they're both like improving. So they're like throwing things at each other the whole time. And they each play different characters. They'll be like, okay, this is Kevin here. And Kevin's like this. But like the other guy could come stand there and be Kevin for like some dialogue too that he was coming up with. It was really a cool show.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Middleditch and Schwartz, I believe it's called.
If you say so.
Little rec for you folks. All right, dude. Fucking A. This was awesome.
Sick.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I feel like I'm going to go pull off all my Shakespeare books out of the
cool.
bookshelf and we can look at my annotations,
Yeah.
see if I actually knew what the fuck I was talking about.
I'm going to go watch some Shakespeare porn. I still got
Ooh, there we go.
to check this out. See how that scene ends. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.